I have a friend of mine that ruined me with my first house I bought. It was out in Elizabeth, Colorado. You can look it up on the map. It's right on the north side of the Black Forest, kind of halfway in between Colorado Springs and Denver. Well, it's 53 miles southeast of Denver, and then out east. Lots of history in that town. We used to when I moved there, Main Street was still dirt, and it had wooden sidewalks and shit, and a bunch of us old hippies and stuff. Of course, I chopped off all my fucking hair. You don't know that now. Maybe one day I'll show my braid. I got it hanging in my room. I kept it. But anyway, we used to take guitars. Guy had made a wash tub bass and shit like that, and fucking what do you call them? Washboards and harmonicas and stuff like that. We used to go hang out on the weekends on the fucking on the boardwalk. And boardwalk usually brings up a different thought, doesn't it? Anyway, the wooden sidewalk, and fucking sit there and play and smoke dope and have a good fucking time. Of course, now dope's not illegal in Colorado anymore, so it'd be a lot more fun to do it now. But yeah, tourists come by and throw fucking money in our hat and shit, and they had a law in that town to where it was illegal to have a full-blown spirituous liquor bar. So they only had a 3-2 bar in town. I don't know if you know about Colorado, but we got 3-2 bars and shit. It used to be 18 years old, you got to drink, which freaked me out. I come back from the service when I was 20 years old. Well, and after the time I lived in Louisiana and worked offshore and shit. Yeah, I come back to Colorado and I couldn't have a fucking drink legally. After drinking all over the fucking world, man.
Well, shit. An addendum to the addendum. There's another part of that little story about Elizabeth I forgot to finish. When I brought up, they didn't have a spirituous liquor bar, and just had a 3-2 bar where we used to set up and play. It was kind of kitty corner across the street from the 3-2 bar that was in the town of Elizabeth. And after a while, like I said, tourists would come down to the town and shit, and mostly it was like antiquers and stuff like that. They were weird people, but anyway, they'd throw fucking money in our hat. But we'd all drink, at that bar and stuff. Well, they started asking us. The bar was actually made out of an old barn that was in town, and I mean a big fucking barn. But it had been, since the 1800s or some crap like that, and it had a huge front yard to it with pine trees in it, so it was a fucking beautiful place. Can't remember the name of it though. But they got to the point where they came across and well, when we finished playing and stuff, I'd take our money over there and spend it for a while, have a good time. They asked us to go ahead and start setting up in the front yard of the bar itself to help get them some more walk-in customers, get some more sales and stuff. And then after a while, they started paying us, and shit like that, we were not professionals, playing old Bob Dylan songs and John Prine and old mountain music and stuff like that, We were just out there having fun, Hell, we didn't hardly know the songs, we were just fucking faking it. But that's why I brought that up about that 3-2 bar. Now, right across the city line, which was to the east of us, there was a creek that went by. I think it was Kiowa Creek. I need to look that up on the internet, too, to remember that. Because, I moved out there in 79. Fucking memory I ain't got. But they were constantly trying to talk us into not going over to the spirituous liquor bar and just sitting there and having, buying 3-2 beer and having fun over there, Well, anybody that's ever drank 3-2 beer, You do get a little buzz from it. But anyway, drinking 3-2 beer, give you a little buzz, but I mean, it's mostly water. You pee constantly, man, so I really don't like to drink 3-2 beer. Oh, what I was going to bring up about that is, if you ever look at a bottle, if you have a chance to, if you live in a neighborhood that still does 3-2 beer, some places still have sold in grocery stores, instead of liquor stores and stuff. But 3-2 beer is 3.2% alcohol by weight, I think it is, as where regular beer is 6% by volume. Well, if you do the math, there actually isn't that much difference. And like I said, come back to Colorado after being in the Army and shit, drinking beer in Europe, and every base I was at, we got to, well, not just drinking beer, drinking, shots, fucking, most of my life, Jim Beam of water. That was my favorite poison. I kind of don't drink anymore since Colorado lifted prohibition. This really doesn't taste that good anymore. And then besides that, like I said, ran that gasohol plant for, it was like 2.5 years. But physically burning the beer, I was doing with steam and shit, but cooking the beer. And after breathing that and smelling that for all that time, beer just, it doesn't really taste that good to me anymore. No, back then it didn't taste that good. So I've never really been a big beer drinker since I did that.